Hey guys, it's CJ. Before we get started with this show, I just wanted to go ahead and issue an apology for the long wait for this new episode. I had a lot of stuff come up with work, and I also had some family issues pop up. All of that is pretty much settled at this point, so we should be jumping onto a regular schedule again here soon. Again, I just wanted to apologize for the delay, and let's go ahead and get started with the show. Now, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with trying to watch the rest of Dora Me when I get to it. Because, my one thought was, maybe I'll just send you a hard drive through the mail, and then you can put things onto the hard drive and send it back to me.
I'll mail you, a dozen DVDs that I burned. It'll be like the old days of trading VHSs.
So that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's really what it feels like we've regressed to.
Welcome back to the weekly motion canon podcast, the WMC Weekly. I am your host, CJ Hitchcock, and with me this week I have the ever-lovable Jimmy Gnome and the also adorable and cutesy IBCF.
Hello, y'all. What's up?
I just went with it. I'm sorry if I offended you, Dan.
Well, thank you.
So this week, we did get hit with a bit of sad news that we're going to be talking about a little bit. Well, sad, maybe good, depending on how you look at things.
Yeah, if Miles is watching this pod, he's like, "This is good news. This is fucking great."
For those who are not in the know, or you're not a part of doing things on the bit of the shadier side on anime, again, we'll talk about this a bit later, but probably one of the most popular site for torrents, at least ones where you didn't have to sign up for an account or anything like that, Torrents, has gone offline. The site was taken down by the owner itself, Mr.Nyaa, as Jimmy has told me his name is.
Mr.Nyaa. That's him.
A lot of that archive is pretty much gone. People have gone and made other sites where you can get magnet torrents for it and whatnot, but still pretty much that site is pretty much no more. And Jimmy, you were looking into a little bit more for what happened, even though that's not really going to be the complete focus of this podcast, but go ahead. We'll talk about that real quick.
Yeah, okay, so basically, I'm not exactly sure what ruling specifically the owner of Nyaa, who we'll just call Nyaa because apparently that was his IRC handle. He was reacting to a ruling that is basically cracking down on piracy. I've only heard this in EU ruling, and the one that I came up with that was recently a big deal, just at the end of last month, April 28th or so, was concerning some multimedia player that has it's sort of like a Roku, and some of them came pre-installed with an app that had illegal streaming capabilities, and that went to EU court, the Court of Justice of the European Union, and it's called Film Speller. It's from the Netherlands. It's a Dutch thing, and they ruled that was illegal. There hasn't been an announcement of what the actual sentencing or whatever for the person who owns the company is, but apparently they're cracking down there. But the other one that I had seen that seemed a lot closer, and it was also around the same time, but not exactly EU rulings. I'm not sure exactly where Nyaa is stationed.
Well, yeah, because you're never supposed to know where the sausage is made.
Yeah, that's right. But a Swedish court had ruled against a company that was basically doing a similar thing, but they were streaming, and they're getting ad revenue, and some of the ads that they were running were also linking to like pirating sites and such like that, and they got some really harsh ruling of 4.5 years in prison and $1.5 million in damages that they have to pay for the 26-year-old owner. If I were like running a similar service and I saw that, yeah, I would totally just shut it all down immediately.
Yeah, delete everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love anime, but I don't think I'd pay $1 million plus.
And it's weird because, like, right when torrent shut down, the other like big one that was also, it was public until I guess like right before Nyaa shut down, because when it shut down, everybody was like, oh no, Baka BT is a private tracker now. They shut everything down. So now if you go on Baka BT and you don't have an account, it's just like your like usual private tracker. And it looks like it's down right now too.
The thing I had heard with Baka BT that it was completely unrelated to everything that was going on with Dan Torrents, but still, like that was a pretty big double whammy for me, because those were the two particular sites that I would always go to whenever I would need to go and download something. It is kind of surprising because, like, I've been using Dan Torrents since I've started doing video, which was like back in 2009.
Yeah, I about the same for me, honestly. I mean, I've been watching anime for longer, but 2009 was around when I started watching currently airing stuff. And at that point in time, that was the only place you could get it.
Well, I mean, there were like other sites that I would go to, but they would always end up linking back to Nantorrent, so it's just like, I might as well cut out the middleman and just kind of went there for everything directly. And it's kind of surprising because it was always kind of like this source that I could go to whenever I would need it. And it's kind of weird that it's gone now, because like this source that I've been using for almost 8 years now is gone.
It's what's really weird, like, because there have been scares like this before where it like they had like DDoS attacks where they've been down for a long while, and yeah, it looks like it was September 2014. I definitely remember it, like some anti-piracy site was just DDoSing them for a long time, and but it was like they always come back. I had never thought that it would actually like go down for good, but it seems like this is too big of a scare.
Not only is it too big of a scare, but when you have the guy who's running the site is the one who's responsible for it, just being like, hey guys, I'm going to back out, like that says a lot for what's going on. And it's unfortunate. Here's the weird thing, because like when it comes to anime in particular, I feel like torrents are a very necessary evil when it comes to this fandom. Especially when you're trying to find any of the older stuff.
Yeah, the rare stuff.
Yes, that's the big deal here, I think. I feel like probably the majority of people who go on Nyaa are probably the people who are going there to like DL like horrible subs or something like that. But there's like a whole bunch of shit on there that isn't anywhere else. Yeah. Like, because Baka VT, they don't host raw files for anime, and like when you're a subgroup, like you're gonna fucking need those. So
I would download RAWs myself whenever I would go and download for video.
Yeah. I mean, same. Like I've totally downloaded RAWs too, and like, well, there are other places, because like Anime Bytes does, which is has been a private tracker for a long time, hosts RAWs, but like Nyaa is the place that has the most of it. Like that's, I guess, where people will just pile their stuff in, and I'm not sure if everything's gone, because like CJ said earlier, there's like some depository of magnet links, or repository of magnet links that went up sort of recently. So I haven't had the time to sit down and go through that and see if there's anything that I wanted to make sure like was preserved, especially in regards to RAWs.
When it comes to doing anything for video, like I know I'm gonna sound like a bit of a simpleton, but like trying to get things off of DVDs is a bit more of a pain in the ass than it should be sometimes, depending on the program that you're using, especially if you're on a Mac like I am. There are certain ways to do it, but like it's either time consuming or it's just unreliable. And when you're trying to get like a whole entire like 26 episode series, like it was always really good to go to the source and download it, so that you would just have a really quick way of getting access to that footage so that you can create the thing.
When you look at this on the surface, it's just like, a big piracy site went down, so that's good for our anime fans or like the industry, the Western industry or whatever. But honestly, if you're like looking at it, I wouldn't say that the benefits outweighed the cost, because that's sort of like a difficult statement to make. But like, if you're talking about anime piracy, most of the time it's streaming. As far as I'm aware, that's where most of anime piracy shit happens. Whereas torrenting stuff, like, while there is obviously like the huge piracy aspect of it, they're also just like, I personally consider myself a pretty decent supporter of the industry. I like to buy, I have Crunchyroll, and I like to buy the like box sets or things like that. Like, I love physical releases of things. Yeah. But I've actually sat down and been like, shit, I don't want to sit up and get my Utena box set off the shelf so I can watch the last episode. So I'm just gonna download the last episode of Utena and watch it on my computer.
It's so much easier if you have like an external hard drive and you can just pop it up and watch it without having to put a physical CD in.
Yeah, I just think that with this going down, there is just like a huge, like, that's a huge chunk of Western fandom gone. All the like fan sub days, like, there are other trackers that host things, but like, there has to have been quite a lot of material that was lost from the old days that's just gone now.
Well, yeah, because like, one of the things I was thinking about in particular was that, if you remember our Christmas episode from this last year, I said that I was going to start watching Dora Me, and
that's not licensed.
Yeah, and it's not licensed, and I've only downloaded the first season because I didn't have enough space on my hard drive to download all 4. And it was one of those things, just like, I'll watch season 1 and then I'll go back online and download season 2, and now I can't really do that anymore, unless I somehow get one of the other accounts that's a private. I don't like having a private account for something I'm going to be using once in every blue moon or so, and on top of that, like, I don't like seeding.
Yeah, that's a problem when you're
exactly, because like,
I
understand why you would need to seed and whatnot so that you can make things that are harder to find more easier to download and whatnot, because like, I've had so many times where it's just like, I just need 1% more before this thing downloads, and I just can't do it because the person who was seeding has decided to stop. Now I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with trying to watch the rest of Dora Me when I get to it. Because, like, my one thought was, like, maybe I'll just send you a hard drive through the mail, and then you can put things onto the hard drive and send it back to me.
I'll mail you, like, a dozen DVDs that I burned. It'll be like the old days of like, trading VHSs.
So that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's really what it feels like we've regressed to. Like, I realized I was just going through my files to see, like, I basically, like, judging what I had. Like, where do I stand right now? And I was like, I've got this copy of Tomb of Dracula. It's really awful 80s OVA, and it's not. I checked Baka, I checked Anime Bytes. It's nowhere. Like, this shit is a rare file.
When it comes to the new stuff, I'm very not all that concerned. Now, I feel like we can have a conversation about there being too many sites to have to pay for to get this stuff, but that's a whole nother conversation. But the thing is that it's available.
The legal options for watching anime right now are really good. Like, better than they've ever been. Like, Crunchyroll, they license fucking everything.
It's like the stuff that gets left over is, slowly being picked up by Amazon.
Yeah, like, I think that with Amazon, and, I mean, I guess Funimation isn't really, because they merged with Crunchyroll. They never have, like, they're always picking sort of bigger shows, I guess. Not like big shows, but the stuff that Amazon has this season aren't... They don't have any short shows, for example, but Crunchyroll always gets the short shows, and it's like, that's really good. I think the only thing that's like, we're really missing, like, that's like a dire thing is long-running, like, franchise shows. Like Pokemon, Precure. Like, these are shows that aren't licensed and don't look like they're going to be licensed, even though they fucking should be.
Kamen Rider belongs on that list too, but yeah.
but like, these sort of things that are long running, and like, fans who've been watching for forever, they rely on fan subs still, and that's one of the few places where fan subs are still like your only option to go with. And right now, that's sort of shaky.
Yeah, because like I was like, thinking about the Pokemon audience in particular, because it's just like this Sun and Moon.
Yeah, because I mean, Sun and Moon has been like really big.
Pokemon's not licensed?
Pokemon is licensed through the Pokemon Company, and the thing is that they have very strong control over their dub and whatnot, and
I see.
They have been known to censor things. I'm not going to say, like, it's for kids level bad, but, like, there is some changes here and there, and if you want to watch the pure experience of Pokemon Sun and Moon, you would basically have to go online for that kind of stuff and download a torrent, but now it's getting kind of hard to do that, and that's a shame.
I didn't even think that the show was being streamed.
Yeah, it's airing on TV, but they're always a season behind.
Yeah, it's like super late or whatever. So if you want to actually be caught up,
but they're constantly changing networks too, because like before it was on Cartoon Network, and now it's on Disney XD.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which is very strange and odd. But even then, like, you know, not to bring up the sub-dub argument and whatnot, but like if you don't like the dub, you're kind of screwed to watching, you know, Sun and Moon legally.
It's not like they're going to release like really nice DVD, Blu-rays, whatever, with different audio tracks and shit like that.
That's not going to be an option for those people, and that's again, like, that's really unfortunate for those people who want to watch the show in that way. I do think that the anime community right now is doing a really good job, but at the same time, there are areas where they could be doing a lot better, and with the Pokemon franchise in particular, I feel like that's one in particular where they could really step up their game and kind of acknowledge that not all of their fans are, you know, 10-year-olds who don't understand that there are other languages yet.
I have no idea why it's so hard for people to get Pretty Cure. Like, that shit is popular. I mean, it's not Sailor Moon, obviously, but for a show that doesn't have the nostalgia, like, audience, that show is pretty fucking big.
I wouldn't actually say Precure is on the same level as Kamen Rider. Like, I think that they are the exact same type of fandom.
I would say it's maybe even bigger, because I just, there are so many anime fans that know about, well, I think the only ones that are licensed, there's Crunchyroll has Futariwa. Yeah. I recently figured out, which was like, wow, I didn't know that. But Futariwa isn't that great, so and then Netflix did like a full-on 4Kids
the Glitter Force
changing it to Glitter Force, and it's like, come on, like, you can just throw this stuff out there and people will love it. It's magical girl stuff, and they fight, and it's cool.
It's kind of weird, because like, as much as I would like dubs for things and whatnot, at the same time I feel like it would just be really easy if like Netflix picked up some of these shows and just left them be, because they did that with Case Closed, or aka Detective Conan, and that seemed to work for them and whatnot. But at the same time, when they do get their hands on a show like Little Witch Academia, we're still waiting for the season that's already done. You know, like, it's frustrating, especially when you're trying to stay current. I mean, it's very frustrating to do things legally and stay current with everything. Yeah. It's almost impossible at this point.
Yeah, by the time that Little Witch Academia comes out on Netflix, like, everybody's gonna be fucking done.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot.
that's the truth.
Yeah, and like, I understand that Netflix's whole entire policy is to, you know, support that whole entire binge watching thing, but at the same time, some shows are made to be watched week by week, and a lot of anime shows are done for that format.
I mean, I barely use Netflix because they just don't really have the kind of shit that I need, but
Dan, what do you think about all this? And I'm sorry if we haven't been letting you talk.
Oh no, I think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just mostly worried about the old stuff getting lost.
Hell yeah!
I just download a whole bunch of old crap on the magnet.
Yeah, on the magnet site. You know. Okay, good. That's the good. Because I was just thinking about. Fortunately, like, most of the stuff that I have, like, on my big list of shit that I need to watch, like, I've gone and checked to see if, like, Anime Bites has it, and most of the time it's been a yes. So, like, it's not that scary, because, I mean, like, because I'm like, I want to watch all of Minky Momo sometime.
I love that closing theme.
And it's like, oh shit, that might not even exist anymore, but it's fortunately there. I mean, I think I think if there's one thing that Nyaa going down is gonna do, it's gonna send a lot of traffic to these private trackers.
Yeah.
Or to streaming sites. I mean, geez.
Because it is frustrating, because like another show that I've always been kind of wanted to watch is the full version of Kodocha, because I've only really ever seen the dub, and the dub stops halfway through. I mean, granted, it ends at a good point before it gets super, super depressing, like the manga does. Like, that's always one thing I always kind of told myself, I'll download that later when I've got time.
Because it's like fucking long as hell, and it's gonna be big.
Yeah. And it's just like that whole entire mindset that I had, like, oh, it'll always be there, and it's not there anymore.
It probably sounds like just like a bunch of like whining to some folks. Honestly, I think it's a pretty big deal for like, at least for like archival purposes, for these shows to just disappear. I suppose there's the option of like, for some of these older shows to try and track down like the ancient Japanese like DVDs or maybe even like laser discs. The fact is that that had already been done once, and like they were there, and there's this huge resource of anime history that probably just disappeared. And that's not even including like the work that fans had done over the years for subbing. And like thinking about it, like there's the other half, the Sukebi Nya, which is like mostly just fucking porn, but there are also like a lot of visual novels and shit that had like translations or partial translations and stuff that perhaps maybe somebody, if it were still around, would have picked back up, but they're gone now, so it's fucking all that work's gone.
A lot of the chances of these things being able to, be viewed legally over here is incredibly slim. Like, I love Discotheque and I love the stuff that they pick up. I think they do God's work, but it's like a lot of their stuff is very few and far between, and there's a lot of the times where they just pick up really random stuff, which I appreciate them for that, but at the same time, just like, could you focus a little bit more on some of the other things that I really like the other Gona Guy works.
They do too much Gona Guy works.
You take that back.
I have seen like really bottom of the barrel stuff that they've done.
But at the same time, I feel like we need more of that, though.
But
like,
what I think is like a lot of these shows, sometimes they will become popular because of like the fan subbing scene or something like that. Like Bakemonogatari probably wouldn't have picked up when it released in 2009 if it weren't for the fan subbing scene. There weren't the legal streaming availabilities, and Aniplex, I'm not sure when they released the box set, but I was sure that they released it for over $100.
Yeah, because that's just how Aniplex rolls, and Aniplex is awful.
If it were just left to, if the industry were just left to its own like tools, that show wouldn't have, like, Monogatari probably wouldn't have picked up.
Yeah. Well, Gundam's kind of the same way, because like a lot of the Gundam shows really picked up through the fan subbing sections and stuff like that. Because like I don't think I've never heard anyone who's seen Victory Gundam who watched it legally before recently.
That's true. I mean, like fucking Zeta Gundam wasn't even like properly subbed for forever. It was sort of just like a mystery to people. And
the same goes for Tournai.
Yeah, that's right. Tournai only just recently got an official Western license.
There's a part of me that wonders how much of this stuff wouldn't exist legally if it wasn't for that fan scene,
All these, really, Gundam has it good in terms of big franchise things. Gundam, they've been doing good work for Gundam, and I wish the licensors would put that work in for something like Pretty Cure.
Yeah, or, do that for more Tatsunoko shows and stuff like that. Like, bring Hurricane Polymore over here, or, Yetterman.
Yeah.
Bring stuff like that over. That's kind of, like, those are the things I want to see more. Or give Professor Keaton an actual re-release. Like, granted, I know that a long, long time ago it had a DVD release, but god damn it, we need more Professor Keaton.
That is another thing. When it comes to old DVDs that have gone long out of print, a lot of times your only option is going to be
eBay.
What's that show? IBCF, the Hare plus Goo.
Yeah,
that show is hundreds of dollars if you wanted to buy the DVD set because it's long out of print and in high demand. And it's not streaming anywhere.
Well, not only that, but if you buy it off of eBay, you're not supporting the creator of that work.
That's true as well. But I mean, there is just this immediate boundary to being able to watch this work, and I really doubt that it's going to be getting any sort of re-release anytime soon. So like there are tons of situations like that, because I mean, they're like, companies have gone out of business since the like late 90s, early 2000s that had released a lot of these things, and they're not going to get any sort of reprints or anything like that, and prices are only going to go up. So for these shows that don't have the streaming alternative, it's either shell out like $50, $100, $200 or download it to be able to see it. So that's another really big issue with all this stuff going down.
This whole entire situation is very disheartening.
It's not good for the anime watcher, especially for the anime watcher who likes older stuff.
Well, and I also kind of feel like one thing that was also kind of gotten taken away from all this is being able to find old stuff on your own, because like I can't count the nights where I was just kind of randomly going through lists, being like, oh, what's this other thing from the 90s? Oh, that's cool. What's this other thing from the 90s? Oh, I'll go ahead and download this one. Like, you can't really do that now. And it's like you have to be in the know about some of these shows, if you want to watch them. And that's unfortunate, because like that sense of discovery, just like, oh man, I found this hidden gem, and like that kind of sensation is kind of gone now. Like pretty much when you're finding the hidden gem, it's of the new stuff that's out, and that's far more work than.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Again, like this is a situation that is not as ideal. Like, yeah, you can, when it comes to new stuff, I really don't care about the new stuff.
I mean, really it's just don't. Right now is just a really good time for being a fan of new stuff. Like you've got it all basically, except for like Pretty Cure and Pokemon.
Another one that was got really big through fans of Modica Magica. Like that was another one when it came out, no one had picked it up for streaming because no one knew what it was going to be about.
That's true enough. I mean, I definitely remember threads on that show and people digging deep into that shit. But I mean, that's true. Like that was around the time. That's another Aniplex show. Maybe that says something. I mean, Aniplex is sort of shit. Except for when they do theater releases, in which case I'm like, I love you, Aniplex, but I don't want to buy Dokisei on Blu-ray.
Yeah, maybe they should just stick to theatrical releases.
I mean, like I could fucking import for about as much, and it comes with better extras.
Extras? Like that's not a thing. Like who? Like extras on DVDs for anime? Like you're talking about the previews, right? The previews are other things that they're going to try and sell you.
The saddest thing, fucking saddest thing is all the fucking Hong Kong subs that are probably lost. I have, thank God, I still have my Hong Kong sub Zinger Z.
That was the one I was going to bring up.
Like all those. Yes, all those really fucking ridiculous subs. I still got them, and those things are gonna be like a long forgotten treasure. Just a couple years.
Collector's items.
Burn them onto discs and bring them to anime conventions.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be an interesting one because you're trying to sell a pirated item, so you're acknowledging that it's a pirated thing to begin with.
not selling, just like leaving them in places.
Oh, it'll be like an Easter egg hunt. Just
that's
hide
right.
little
92 episodes worth of Mazinger Z.
Just get giant Easter eggs and have like little flash drives in them, and each one has a different episode on it. Hide them around anime conventions.
That's right.
I think that'd be kind of cool. So let's go ahead and move on. It's unfortunate, but I guess this is one final salute to Nan Torrents. You did good work. We're proud of you. It's unfortunate that you have to go.
We'll miss you. We'll miss all your your own a whole advertisements.
I mean, I follow J-List for that, so...
Oh my god.
So let's go ahead and talk about what we've been watching this week. And let's go ahead and start with you, Dan. What have you been currently watching?
Well, I just rewatched the Pink Jacket Lupin movie.
Nice.
The Legend of the Golden Babylon.
Yeah. Nice. Is there only one Pink Jacket movie?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really good. I just been watching like a smattering of different shows. I watched a bunch of shows for the Anticipations article, actually. I got that smear from the Madoka episode, and I ended up just watching it again because I hadn't seen it in a while.
Yeah, I need to rewatch Madoka sometime. But yeah. Madoka is cool, I guess.
It left an impact on me, and it was a very good thing to watch at the time, especially when you're doing video reviews for stuff.
Also, I watched Kimono Friends.
Hell yeah. You're a part of the crew. Shit. I didn't think that you of all people would be like, it was pretty cool. I know that Josh like instinctively hates it. And I thought I was gonna hate it too, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's a good little
I need
show.
to sit down and watch
Yeah.
it, but goddamn, I feel so bad for that penguin, Mr. Grape. Oh, that story's heartbreaking. Like, that legitimately makes me sad. Like, it just... that poor little penguin falling in love with this little cardboard cutout of one of the characters from that show.
All too relatable.
Oh, well.
That's interesting. I didn't know that you tried that out, but that's good. I'm happy for you.
So Jimmy, what you been watching?
Well, since I've been busy, I've only had time to watch. I watched all of My Hero Academia. I just was like, well, I've been wanting to watch it for a while, I guess. The first season, but I heard that the original airing was sort of shaky on the quality side because of just like generally poor planning, I guess, was the issue. And I saw that Umakoshi himself, who is the character designer and animation director on episode 1, he was doing corrections himself because he's a fucking miracle. And I was like, okay, then I'll wait for the Blu-rays and watch those. So I decided now is the time to do it, and I did it, and it was pretty good. First season was pretty good for Battle Shonen. I don't like Battle Shonens generally. I don't like superheroes generally, but My Hero Academia is pretty good. It's got really good like expressions as expected of something that has Umakoshi as the chief AD.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
He doesn't. I think he only does key animation himself in for the preview, which I think some of it carries over into episode 1, and he is just general animation director on episode 1, which is nice. But I don't know, the first season is still pretty rough. There's only one really impressive fight scene. Season 2, on the other hand, which I also I'm caught up on My Hero Academia because I was just like, this is a fun show, and I ended up watching the whole thing in between my laborings. But season 2 is really good, extremely good. Production wise, it's way ahead of the second season. I was immediately impressed going into the first episode of season 2, right after I finished season 1. It's all the characters are gesturing, and there's movement all the damn time, and that's just really cool. And just all the setup for season 2, I'll probably talk about it on later pod, but it's really excellent. Season 2 of My Hero Academia.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's...
I'm
I have to
happy
see
for
that
you.
then.
I didn't like season 1. I was unimpressed. It's not my thing. I'm happy that you're happy. That's that's my attitude towards it. Just
yeah.
It's not my thing. I
mean, I was expecting like there is some serious drag. Like the first season is very slow. It is so slow. It is ridiculously slow. It really just feels like the intro to the show. It really, like, basically two things happen in the first season of My Hero Academia. The main character gets into the school, and then there's just the first, like, 3 days of school, and then the season ends. Like, that's it. And you're like, oh, okay. Probably a good idea to wait until season 2 started airing to watch it, because I did really want to immediately start watching more, because it's not really like a cliffhanger, but it really does feel like you just finished up just the introduction of the series. So, I don't know,
'cause, like, when you have, like, older anime and stuff like that, like Rama 1/2 also kind of comes into mind when it comes to shows that start a little bit slow. But it feels like if you have, like, one good marathon session with it, you'll fall in love with it, and then you're on with it forever. And I don't know if I have that kind of patience for new shows anymore. You know, like what we were talking about earlier, there are shows that you marathon, and then there are shows that you watch week to week. And I think with this show in particular, if you watch it week to week, it's too slow. There's not enough happening, not enough to get you engaged. And that was kind of my problem with it.
I think that if you watched My Hero Academia week to week, that probably would have sucked, because there are like 5 episodes of that show where just same things happening. They're in this place and the same thing is happening, and it's good. Like, it's still fun because, like, the characters are generally pretty fun, and like, that was enough to keep me going. But yeah, I would have probably been in a bit of pain. Okay, this is what My Hero Academia is like. It's like Yu Hakusho. Yusuke dies and comes back, and then, like, he hears about, like he gets set up as the spirit hunter or whatever, and they're like, here's your first mission, and then he does it, and then it's over, and you're like, oh. Like, that's just it. Like, you feel like, oh, that was a nice introduction to this series.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of feel like with Yu Yu Hakusho, the characters are far more engaging, and that universe is far more interesting. But it's...
I think that the universe, I can feel that, but I really like a lot of the cast in My Hero Academia, even though, like, what I feel is the first season just doesn't use its characters that well, like, because it's just, there's just not enough time. Like, so much of it is just like he gets into school, and then you see all these cool characters, like, they're so well designed and, like, immediately attractive, and, like, you're like, these are going to be really fun people to hang out with, and, like, maybe you'll get to hear them speak, like, a few lines of dialogue every episode, but there's just so much focus on just, like, the main character and his struggle, and then All Might, and that there's very rarely time when the side characters get a whole lot to do. And it's the total opposite in season 2. It's the total opposite, because now it's like all these characters are competing against each other. It's really basically like a tournament arc, but they're doing things that aren't just fighting. And then you get to see all these different combinations of characters interacting, and other, like, side characters that maybe got 2 lines in the first season finally get to have, like, a whole, like, episode to themselves or something, and it's just really nice. I like it a lot.
I'm happy that you're happy. It just, the show doesn't do anything for me. I feel like I can get my superhero kicks elsewhere, because I do like superheroes. I'm not a fan of Japanese superheroes who are trying to be American superheroes. I don't like that genre. But it's just like, if I want Japanese superheroes, I'll watch Kamen Rider. Like, that's basically where I go to it. I guess I'll go ahead and jump on to what I've been watching this week, not to, crash into this like a freight train. So when it comes to the stuff that I've been watching in between now and our last episode, I've been wanting to do full episodes on it. Like, I've been reading the Otsuma Tezuka story, which is a biography of him in manga format. That's really, really fucking good and very compelling and awesome, and I want to give it its own episode. I just need to get somebody else on the site to read it. so we can talk about it. One thing that I really liked that I saw recently this last week was not an anime, but this is an obscure enough thing where I think Josh will forgive me. Hopefully, if I'm not back next week, you'll have to look for my body. But I went and saw this Turkish documentary film. I know that's a hard double whammy, but this was a really awesome movie called Kide.
Like the Radiohead album.
I don't know. I don't listen to Radiohead. I'm not very much into music. But anyway, it's about the city of Istanbul in modern day times and how the people of Istanbul coexist with a bunch of these cats that live everywhere. And the city is just has this really booming population of cats where they're just everywhere, and they have this really interesting symbiotic relationship with all these people. Because on one hand, you're basically just watching these movies where it's just a bunch of cute, adorable little cats just doing cat things, and it's cute, and each cat has their own personality. But on the other hand, it has this really interesting message about being in touch with not only just other people, but with nature. I'm not a religious person, but there is this really interesting religious theme to it as well, about how cats prove that God exists. And, there's this really fun quote in the movie about how the difference between dogs and cats is that dogs think humans are gods, which is why they worship us. But cats know that man are just man. But the thing is that cats realize that that man is the middleman between them and God, and so they appreciate that connection because it brings them closer to spirituality.
That is some deep shit with these cats.
Yeah. It gets into some really interesting philosophy stuff in it as well, and it's a really good movie. It's 80 minutes long. It's very gorgeously shot. There's these really gorgeous shots of cats walking on these this rooftops in Istanbul, the sun going down, and just it's a gorgeous movie. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. But yeah, when this thing goes on DVD, go ahead and pick it up because it's a really good movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah, so again, something different. I know it's not an anime, but it's
it could be an anime.
Yeah.
It could be. There is this one really good story about a cat that's in it that has this relationship with a cat that's an indoor cat, and he's constantly trying to impress her. So you'll crawl up the side of a tree and sneak into the house, and they'll kind of flirt with each other. They have stuff like that in the movie, and that could be a really cute animated scene if they did that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute, and I like it. So I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Normally I would have a question, but I completely forgot about it this time again, which that makes me sad.
That's too bad.
It's unfortunate, but again, head over to our Patreon. Next week, I swear to God, we'll have a question from you guys, and it'll be a great question.
And at the end of our show, like we're always going to do, we'd like to go ahead and have this time right now to give a little shout out to our 10 plus backers on the Patreon, and those are Osama_A, Cornelia Natsudi, Chris Magnifico, and Ben Grant. Thank you very much for your donations. We very much appreciate it.
Thanks again for listening. Where can they find you guys on the internets?
I am at JimmyGnome9 on Twitter.
I am at _IBCF_.
All right, and I am CJ Hitchcock. Thank you so much for listening. We'll go ahead and see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.